Listen up. We lost last year. We can't do this again.
We've won 14 out of the last 15 games. I think we ought to stick with what's worked and what's gotten us here.
Let's do it.
We gotta get these jets off the deck.
Launch Alert 5, 612, you're cleared across the bow, maneuver as required.
We need more speed.
Now this is what I call a triple option.
North Korea isn't the only one hot under the collar about the South Korea-U.S. joint aerial drills. China is expressing its discontent with its own aerial exercises over the West Sea and the East China Sea, sending a message to Seoul and Washington. China's Air Force wargaming in the region involved surface-to-air missile forces, fighter jets, and early warning aircraft. Though the drills involved multiple jets flying routes and areas it has never flown before, the Air Force spokesperson did not specify the day or days during which the drills took place or the exact locations the planes traveled. The Chinese Air Force said it'll
From the bridge of the USS Carl Vinson, go Navy, beat Army.
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 The Carl Vinson Strike Group has your back. Go get him, Navy. Beat Army.
The U.S. has deployed B-1B bombers to the Korean Peninsula to take part in the joint Seoul-Washington air combat drills. South Korean military officials said on Wednesday that the bomber stationed in Guam arrived to conduct a bombing drill with South Korea's fighter jets. The U.S. usually deploys B-1B in pairs after North Korea's provocations in a show of force or on routine training missions. The last deployment of B-1B bombers came in early November ahead of U.S. President Donald Trump's regional trip. Seoul and Washington have been conducting a massive air combat drill known as Vigilant Ace. Over 200 warplanes are taking part, including 24 stealth fighter jets. 6 F-22s and 6 F-35s have been deployed to the Korean Peninsula, marking the first time the highly advanced jets have cruised the skies over South Korea at the same time. Other U.S. assets include 2 B-1B bombers and 6 Growler electronic warfare jets, as well as dozens of F-15s and F-16s. South Korea has deployed 90 fighter jets, including its F-15 and F-A-50 fighters. The exercises are scheduled to run through. Seoul and Washington have been conducting a massive air combat drill known as Vigilant Ace. The 5-day exercise is the largest ever combined Air Force drill between the two allies, involving 230 warplanes and around 12,000 personnel. 24 U.S. stealth fighter jets took part in the drills, 6 of them F-22s, 6 of them F-35As, as well as a dozen F-35Bs, marking the first time the highly advanced jets have cruised the skies of Korea at the same time. North Korean leader Kim Jong-un is said to be the most afraid of stealth fighters, as they can easily get past the regime's air defenses undetected. Other U.S. assets include 2 B-1B bombers and 6 Growler electronic warfare jets, as well as dozens of F-15s and F-16s. South Korea has deployed 90 fighter jets, including its F-15 and F-A-50 fighters. The U.S. also flew 2 B-1B supersonic bombers over Korea for 2 consecutive days on Wednesday and Thursday, carrying out bombing drills over the Yellow Sea near North Korea and China. It is unusual for the U.S. to send the bombers, stationed in Guam, for 2 days in a row. Their exercise was simulated to target key North Korean facilities, including nuclear and missile sites.
State-of-the-art F-22 stealth fighters prepared to take off as part of the Vigilant Ace drills being conducted by the United States and South Korea, which involve 230 warplanes and at least 12,000 military personnel. Pyongyang has described the exercise as the US president begging for a nuclear war.
North Korea has been very critical of the military drills when it comes to that Korea and the U.S. forces use the stealth fighters in the military drills, because those F-22 and F-35 has the capability to penetrate North Korean territory without being detected.
There's good reason why Pyongyang would not like these aircraft slipping under its radar. Warplanes, like the one you can see behind me, are simulating the destruction of nuclear and missile facilities in the DPRK, as well as mobile missile launchers. These drills are annual, but this year's is the biggest ever. Some analysts say that's not a coincidence.
역대 최고의 공군 훈련은 결국 북한에 대한 압박.
The largest joint Air Force exercise ever can be seen as a way of putting pressure on North Korea, of showing a military demonstration to stop any further action, such as a 7th nuclear test or ICBM test. Very few people believe these or any other war games will halt Kim Jong-un's desire to build a fully functioning nuclear-tipped rocket. The drills follow a successful test by the North of an intercontinental ballistic missile most analysts believe could reach the mainland United States. There is also little hope that either the US or the DPRK will accept China's proposal of halting war games in return for a halt to Pyongyang's weapons program, a policy known as freeze for freeze.
If freeze for freeze is going to work, then North Korea has to accept the verification process. If North Korea is not going to accept it, then US is not going to accept it.
So the war games continue while everyone wonders when, and not if, the DPRK will conduct its next missile or nuclear test.
We'll start talking of actually extracting personnel from that, family members, etc., from that region. You know something bad is going to come. We've not heard that from official sources. We are still hearing it from a senator. And we've not also got it in the grapevine that people are alluding to that. So I would say that at this point of time, that day when a strike could potentially happen is still a couple of months away.
Well, he is a senator of long standing in the Senate, on the Senate Armed Services Committee. He plays a lot of golf with Trump. It would seem to me that Lindsey Graham knows what's going on. That kind of, gets my radar up probably more than anything. It's those comments that you got to pay attention to. At least that's my belief. Mm-hmm. But at this point, this massive show of air power, that all of these aircraft have the capability of delivering some type of nuclear arsenal. Will this have an impact on Kim Jong-un other than the country saying that, well, we're getting closer to the brink of nuclear war?
What's going to happen on Kim Jong-un is that he's going to be very, very vigilant and very, very alert. He does not want to give a reason, a provocation for the U.S. to be able to actually strike him. But remember, the last time they had exercises, for the first time since God knows how many decades, a U.S. strategic bomber actually went beyond the 38th parallel in international waters. I am expecting that there will be something precedential like that even in this air exercise. But I do not think Kim Jong-un is going to bite, because he knows that that's the end of his
So what do you
regime.
think their next move is? Just continue the rhetoric? And I'm talking about North Korea. What can you expect out of them? And where do all these military operations put China?
It's actually very interesting about what North Korea had to say after this latest ICBM was fired. He said that North Korea has realized the historic mission of creating a workable nuclear option, or something thereabout, something. The point he's getting at is that he has completed doing what he needed to do. Most people do not accept that is correct, simply because I think there is need for greater testing. He does not need to increase the range of his missiles, but the issues with regard to re-entry, etc., which he needs to improve and which can only happen from testing. But the fact that he is saying that he has reached this state suggests that now he may be open to some sort of conversation.
So you think that he's working on this philosophy, I'm going to carry a big stick, but I'm not going to use it, it'll just help me in negotiation?
I personally think so, and there are many people in the U.S. government who think so, but not people like National Security Advisor McMaster, who believes that Kim has nuclear weapons not just for regime survival.
Yeah.
The purpose is to disconnect U.S. and American security so that at a later point of time, Kim can hold the U.S. hostage while he tries to invade South Korea.